Well, good afternoon. My name is Maria Lancaster, and I would like to introduce my daughter, Alicia. And she is very special to me and the rest of our family. Alicia is a snowflake baby, and some of you may or may not know this, but a snowflake baby is a baby that's been adopted as a frozen embryo from another couple. They're called snowflake babies because, like snowflakes, no two are alike. In our case, the other donating couple underwent IVF treatments, had a child, and then was faced with what to do with the remaining embryos. Now in the freezer. My husband and I struggled with infertility for a number of years. At some point, the doctor told us we were done, and I was plain too old. Never like to hear that. Then by chance and a miracle, I got pregnant at 46 years old, but I miscarried. That pregnancy made me realize how much I really wanted a child. However, at my age, it seemed worse than unrealistic that it could ever happen. But not long after that, my husband heard a radio interview on Dr. James Dobson's Focus on the Family about an adoption agency that handled the donation and adoption process of surplus embryos, especially waiting for families. We followed up on it and went through the necessary process and the paperwork. We were eventually matched with a family on the East Coast. The embryos were sent FedEx, frozen, to my doctor's office in Bellevue, Washington. They had been in the freezer for 4 years, waiting for a family. Alicia was 2 cells in the freezer, held in suspended animation, waiting for a family for 4 years. We were very fortunate that I got pregnant on my very first try. Alicia was born September 5th, 2003. She's the greatest joy in my life. Excuse me. If the couple had donated their embryos to us, had donated them to science, Alicia could have been a medical experiment. Embryos were created with the intention of treating infertility. Millions of American families struggle with the despair of infertility. Embryos are the perfect treatment for the disease of infertility. Anything other than that is a misuse of what was their intended purpose. Every embryo is an individual. Nothing but a warm womb is necessary for the chance at a whole lifetime of experiences we have all come to know as the joy of living. We were all embryos at one time, but fortunate enough to be in a womb from the very start. In 2002, the RAND Corporation did a survey that indicated there were 400,000 embryos in storage. Those 400,000 embryos don't belong to the government, the state, or any other entity. They are other people's embryos. It is amazing we discuss them like they're a natural resource, like we have the legal right, like mineral rights or fishing rights to harvest them. In reality, they are a cherished hope for the families that created them. There are few that are no longer needed or wanted. And now I'm going to read to you the specific statistics from the RAND report. According to a 2002 survey by the RAND Corporation of IVF clinics in the United States, the vast majority of the 400,000 currently frozen embryos are not slated for destruction or research. The vast majority, 82.2%, are being held for family building. Only a small fraction, 2.2%, are slated to be discarded. And only slightly higher percentage, 2.8%, have been designed or designated, for research. That means of the original 400,000 frozen embryos, only 11,000 are actually available to be destroyed for their stem cells. Only a small number of those 11,000 embryos would actually yield stem cells. Using what it calls a conservative estimate, the RAND study calculated that only about 275 stem cell lines could actually be developed from the embryos available for research. And even then, the RAND study concedes that this number is probably an overestimate. In closing, it is our desire that Washington State could be the leader in ethical stem cell research generating cures for millions without exploiting embryos, women, or families. We should fund adult stem cell research that Tracy has talked to us about. It's proved exceedingly more successful and does not require the destruction of human embryos, nor does it exploit women for more eggs to use for embryonic stem cell research or cloning. To date, there have been 0 cures for any disease using embryonic stem cell research and 72 treatments using adult stem cell therapies. We need a cloning ban to protect women from being exploited for their eggs. And I want to thank you for coming and hearing our viewpoint. Handouts are available, and again, I appreciate your time. Thank you.